Hello and good morning to everybody and all the students that are listening me in this point in time. And I'm very glad to join you once again after a long time, even though I was somewhat busy. But now I will be trying to cover and discuss everything with this. Related to the research world and what new researches are being done, and we will continue on with this with our channel, and new informations would be shared with you today. That the thing or the topic that I want to discuss is about research. Research. Now, whenever a young researcher comes into the field, he or she is confused about the terms like discovery, inventions, and of course, research. Now, keep one thing in mind, dear students, that research is not discovery or invention. Research is something different from both of them. Basically, research is done to fill the literature gap. We will be discussing about this as well to explain what is a literature gap and how it is being done. Now, the second question that each one asks from his or herself is that how to start with the literature, where to start research work. So it is a stepwise process. The first step is to select your field of interest. Now, your field of interest could be medical field, it could be engineering field, it could be astrology, it could be anything. So you have to select your field of interest. Like, for example, I'm a doctor, my field of interest is medical science, and that's why whatever I will be doing, or my expertise, most of the time the field selected shows your expertise. Like, for example, I'm a medical doctor, so medical science will really attract me, and because I can understand this field better than engineering and astrology and Egyptology or any other field. So first step is to select your field of interest. The second step is to select your topic of interest. Like, for example, I am a public health expert. My topic of interest, I select the topic of interest as vector-borne diseases. Now, my topic of interest is vector-borne disease, one of the major topic in public health. I want to further explore about the vector-borne diseases. The third step would be I will be going through various forums like PubMed, like Lancet Journal, BMJ. I will be going through all of them. My main aim in going through all of these websites would be to collect what? Collect research articles about VBD. Now these research articles should be fresh research articles. Fresh articles. They should not be older than 5 years. So we selected our field of interest. Then we selected our topic of interest. The third, we discussed about and collected all the research articles, the fresh research articles that were concerning to the topic of interest. Now, what do we do with these research articles? What am I going to do with these research articles? I have studied all of the research articles. So what should I do with it? My main aim in studying all of them would be to identify literature gap. Now the literature gap, let me explain it with some example. For example, you have a brick. Here is a brick. Some authors have explained this brick in their research articles from the right side. Some have explained it from the left side. Some explained it from the top side. Some explained it from the bottom side. You studied all of them. You studied these ones, you studied this one, you studied this one, you studied this one. After reading all of these, you find out that there are certain points and areas which are not discussed or explored by any author or researcher. Now this area, for example, the area between the corner between the right and the bottom has not been, you searched all the articles and you don't find any article about this corner or this corner or this corner or this corner. So all of them indicates a gap, a hole in the literature. So after finding this gap in the literature, your next step would be to develop a research question. Now the research question is, what is a research question? This is an important question. A lot of people ask. Now the research question is nothing more than a logical statement. Logical statement in form of a question. For example, the logical statement, like for example, I selected my area of interest as malaria or VBD. So the logical statement, VBD in flooding. So I will be creating a logical statement as what is the impact of VBD, of flooding on the prevalence of the VBDs, your vector-borne diseases. Or simply I could say that, does flooding affect the VBD? And now this will be my research question. So research question is nothing, it is a logical statement in the form of a question, and it addresses the gap. The next steps or activities that you will be performing for the research questions is, you will be designing data collection tools, you will be selecting study design, and you will be selecting the methodology, And the other approach is you will have to take, and the main aim would be to collect data, to collect observations, and to do all possible activities in order to discuss the research question. So we will be discussing this topic further. So I think this is enough for today. Today we discussed about the research, what is a research, how to start with the research, and what is a you can say research question, what is a literature gap, and what is a research question, and how literature gap is being identified, and how it is being tackled, and how a research question, that is a logical statement, is developed for this case. So thank you very much.